Welcome back to the Poker Vlog. I'm Zen Madman. We've got some big pots today. The last couple of videos I feel like I made with interesting hands, but not like really eventful hands. This one we've got some bangers in it. First hand, we're going to look at ace-10 of diamonds in the big blind. It folds around to the button, who raises. I'm going to 3-bet. I think pretty straightforward. Maybe I'm mixing this hand, right? I might not be 3-betting this pure, but I think it's totally fine to 3-bet this some at least. I flop a backdoor royal draw on the driest board ever. So I'm going to bet. I bet third pot. I think third pot with range feels reasonable here. Even if I don't want to do it with range, I think I probably want to do it with this hand. I'm curious what PO has to say. Maybe half pot is better. And I bet and they call. So I think they're going to be peeling pretty light here with a lot of backdoor draws against this bet size, all of their pairs. I'm not expecting better hands to fold. I'm expecting actually some worse hands to call and to deny equity to sometimes a hand like queen jack offsuit or stuff like that. Anyway, they call. The turn's a brick. I think I can keep firing here if I had ace-10 of spades. I think hands like ace-3, ace-5 of diamonds perhaps can fire. 5-6 suited, I'm going to have that as a 3-bet in the big blind some, and this is going to be a great card to barrel on. And I don't bet this hand. I don't think there's that much merit in it. They check back. And then on the river, again, I don't think there's that much reason to bet. I check. They put in a bet. You know, they could be bluffing the queen jack 10 region, right? I'm blocking that a little with the 10. I'm going to fold. I don't know whether we're supposed to be calling any ace highs here. I don't think I'm supposed to be folding a bunch of pairs. The 9 certainly could have hit them and they could put a value bet in. This is a little large sizing, so it's feels a little sus. You know, I felt like, really? You're betting 3/4 pot after checking back that turn on this river? I'm not so sure, but I do make the fold and they win the pot. Queen 10 offsuit in the cutoff. This is the bottom of my raising range in terms of offsuit queens, but I think it's a very clear raise here. Button folds and the big blind's going to defend. The flop comes out king 10-6, which if they check to me, I think this is kind of on the cusp of what I want to be c-betting, but they don't check to me. They bet $3, which is a little on the large side, and I think I can fold a lot of hands against this sizing when they lead out. I am going to smash this board pretty well, so I don't think I need to struggle to find continues. However, here I do have middle pair, a decent kicker, backdoor hearts, backdoor Broadway, and so I'm going to call. The turn's a deuce, and if they put a sizable bet in here, I might fold. I'm blocking hearts a little. I'm blocking the straight draw. So, I mean, I guess the 10 of hearts isn't really that much of a relevant heart blocker, but, you know, they can't have a hand like 10-9 of hearts or something like that, I guess. But they just bet $3. So I'm like, I'm not folding for $3. We're getting 4 and change to 1. I'm certainly going to call that. They're just giving me a great price. And then on the river, I make 2 pair. So if they bet sizable here, I think I just call because hands like ace jack, jack 9 certainly are reasonable for them to have. I mean, reasonable. They could have taken this line with those, and that's a lot of combinations. However, they check to me. I'm going to go for value. I feel like if they had a king, they probably bet this. I don't know. If I thought that they had stronger hands in their range, I might bet bigger, but I bet a little more than third pot. I think it's a decent compromise between like a really small bet, which we don't usually want to do in position, opening ourselves up to a check raise. But I do this, and they just fold, and I'll take the pot. Pocket 8s in the big blind. I guess red 8s, but one of them's blue because I use a 4-color deck. The button calls, the small blind folds, and I'm going to raise. I raised to 350, which I think is too small. 450 is probably okay. Anyway, they call, and I flop an overpair on a paired board, so I don't think they've got a ton of 4x in their range. I mean, there should be more 6x than 4x just because there's 2 4s on the board, so there's 2 left in the deck. There's 1 6 on the board, so there's 3 left in the deck. You know, maths. So I bet, and they call. I think half pot's reasonable here. I want to deny equity to a lot of just like random overcard hands. I don't want to make it too easy for them to peel. And then the turn's a 7, which completes some stuff, right? 5-3 got there, clubs got there, but you know, a 6 is still a 6. Some hands like 6-7 and 6-5 are going to be pretty happy with this card. I'm still beating 6-7 because I've got 8s and 4s. They would have 7s and 6s, so 8s up beats 7s ups, even if one of them is more like a soda. So I bet half pot. I think I could go a little bigger here, but you know, this is kind of an exploitative, like I'm kind of bet folding here, and I don't think this player is going to raise me unless they have me beat. I don't think this is a bet size that's going to elicit some like them messing with me. So they do call, and the river's a 7 of spades. So I think this is a very interesting card. If they had a hand like 7-5 or 7-8, then they did just make a boat, right? Good for them. If they had that 7-6, well, I'm not looking too hot anymore, right? But I like that I have the 8s that don't match the 7s, right? Because 8-7 of suitedness, 8-7 suited is completely impossible. So I think that is nice. Now, a loose button against my raise size, could they have 8-7 offsuit? Sure. Is it as likely as 8-7 suited? I don't think so. This sort of blocking all the suited combos would be more important if their range were likely to be more rational. Here, it's probably just sort of an impulsive, I feel like playing this hand on the button, so I'm playing it, judging by their play style so far. No judgment in terms of, whatever. You can play how you want. It's cool. I bet third pot on the river. I'm going for value against a 6. I think a flush would have raised the turn most of the time. I think a straight would have raised the turn most of the time. I think a 4 probably would have raised the flop or the turn. I am worried about a 7, but I'm not so worried about a 7 that I don't want to go for value, because if they have a range of 7x and 6x, well, there's more 6x available than 7x. So I go ahead and I put the bet in, and I do get called, and we see that they had king 6 of spades. So I like this river value bet. Tell me what you think. The small sizing sometimes can be exploited if it's only something we do with our weaker, thinner value hands. That's not necessarily the case for me. I'm definitely going to use it with some big hands when I think my opponent's range is weak, and hopefully elicit a raise. But in this case, I just think it's a good spot to go for kind of thin value, and I win a nice pot. Ace King of Diamonds in the hijack. I am going to raise. I get 3-bet, and there's a cold call in the small blind. And when it folds to me, this is just a hand that I want to be squeezing all the time. Is it even squeezing? I guess it's like squeezing because there's a raise and a call. Basically, I want to be 4-betting with these two players in. I don't really want to see a flop 3 ways. It's not the worst hand to see a flop 3 ways with the suitedness and everything, but it's just very powerful. I'm going to win the pot immediately sometimes. I size up a little less than 4x, like between 3x and 4x. I think this is a good sizing. We're a little deeper to start the hand. I was about 120 deep, so going a little bigger makes sense. I could have even just done full pot, basically, which is about 4x their raise. The 3-better folds, and the caller calls. So they cold called a 3-bet, and then they called a 4-bet. So that's a little, that's something to take note of, right? It either means a very strong range or it means a very weak player, right? Those are basically the options. Now, this board, hands like pocket queens, pocket 10s, those are the type of hands that people are going to do this with. Sometimes pocket 6s, right? But there's also going to be a lot of just suited stuff. There can be some like ace queen type things. So, and then just like some junk maybe. Hands like pocket 7s, 8s, 9s, maybe they're going to fold to a flop c-bet. They check. I bet 15. In 4-bet pots, I think we can usually go quarter pot with range, and it's not usually going to be very bad. This is a spot where I think taking a free card had some merit, basically because I've got decent equity against a lot of the hands my opponent can have, and if they're going to check raise me all in and I'm going to forfeit that equity, that's kind of not great. But they just call, and then I turn top pair, top kicker, and they check to me. Now, if this board, did they check yet? Yeah, there we go. This board is so wet that, okay, if they have a set, they have a set, and I've got 4 outs, right? But they can have ace X of spades, they can have like 10x of spades, they can have king jack, that's not great, but I do have a king, that helps. They can have 9-8 suited, jack 9 suited. Those hands have a lot of equity, right? They're open-ended straight draws or double gutters. So, and they can have a lot of combo draws, right? A pair and a flush draw, a straight draw and a flush draw, whatever. So I just jam. I feel like because of the nature of the board and just how wet it is, this is a spot where I just want to get all the chips in. If it were rainbow here, I might check this card back. Anyway, they fold and I win the pot. All right, here we go. Pocket aces, red aces, but really red and blue aces. There's a raise in front of me. I'm always going to be 3-betting this, right? I'm just 100% 3-betting the aces. I get called by the button, by the small blind, by the big blind, and then the other player jams. This is what you like to see when you pick up pocket aces. Now, we could have a discussion of whether I should cold call the 100 and leave like 68 back to then, kind of entice these people in. I don't think that makes sense. I don't think that looks any less strong than just doing this, just sticking the chips in, right? Either way, I mean, we are a little deeper, but like, whatever. This is what I would do with ace king, so it's what I'm going to do with aces. And I don't know if I do it with 100% of my ace king. It's a weird spot. But I've got aces, so I don't have to think too much about it. So I just jam it in. Everybody else folds. This person has his ace queen offsuit, which feels like a reasonable bluffing hand. I don't know. Maybe they just only want to have ace king here, or like some suited stuff. But they do this. They're actually in a good spot to have called with some like ace x suited. So I don't know what their play is good, bad, whatever. The point is they don't make two queens or a straight or a weird flush with clubs. And I win quite a large pot, which is fun. I like winning large pots. Hit like if you like winning large pots. You know what's fun besides winning large pots? Getting dealt the same two aces back-to-back hands. This isn't actually back-to-back hands. It's a little while later. But whatever. I didn't have to tell you that. I'm going to raise. Let's see if we can win another big one. Okay, nobody seems to... Nope. Okay, they're all afraid. They know I only play aces, so they all folded. All right, let's play one more big hand for the road. 5-6 of clubs. I am going to open that from the cutoff 100%. I'm raising all of these suited connectors. I get cold called by the small blind, and the flop comes 6-5-3 with 2 hearts. So they check it to me. I think they might get away with having a leading range here. That might be correct, but they check. That's fine. Totally natural. It doesn't look like I hit this too hard, but I am going to have these little suited connectors, as I said, and I'm going to have all the pocket pairs, right? Their range probably is going to have a lot of sets in it as well, but I'm not that worried about a set because I'm blocking a lot of the sets. Normally there's 9 combos. Here there's only 5, right? Because I have a 6, I have a 5 that blocks lots of combos. Cool. The straights also like deuce 4 and 7-4, like, okay, I guess, but those aren't combos to be super afraid of. Anyway, I bet half pot. I think on a board like this that's very dynamic, we want to go a little bit bigger, so I go half pot. I could maybe even go larger because I'm not going to be betting a huge portion of my range, I don't think. I think I'm going to be doing a lot of checking, so using a bigger sizing with these strong hands and like big overpairs and such, and like big draws, I think makes sense. Anyway, I do this size, they call, and the turn's a deuce, and they check it to me. Right? They check. So here, there's a couple things to think about. One, okay, 4x got there, right? But what 4x is there? There's like 5-4 suited, maybe 3-4 suited, maybe 6-4 suited, ace-4 suited. Okay, some of those things are possible, but it's like, it's hard to think that there's a ton of 4x, right? On top of that, there's other hands they can have. They could have like 8s, 9s, 10s, 7s, whatever, which, you know, I want to get value from. I think a player like this might cold call those and then pay off. Even on this kind of scary turn card, because this turn shouldn't be that scary for them. I don't have a ton of 4x in my range, right? I'm going to have ace-4 suited. I'm going to have pocket 4s. That's about it. Maybe like 5-4 suited. Yeah, that's about it. So not a ton of 4x. So I don't have a lot of straights. But I think I can still bet this hand because there's tons of draws I want to charge money to, right? 8-7 suited is still a thing. You know, 9-8 suited for a gut shot. Some hearts. So it's not like all the draws got there, just the one, right? And the one wasn't going to be that much of their range. So I bet, and they call. So I think they probably don't have a straight. The river is a beautiful card, right? It is the 5 of diamonds. And I'm thinking, how much am I going to be able to bet when they check to me? But then they don't check. They bet like 80% of pot. And, you know, what are we going to do here? Well, the first thing to think about is like, can we be beat? Sure, they can have pocket 6s. Was it a reasonable way for them to play the hand? Not super reasonable, but I wouldn't rule it out. But that's one combination. They can only have pocket 6s with the hearts and the diamonds. That's it. So in 100 blind stacks, we weren't even 100 blinds to begin the hand. We're never going to worry about that one combo, right? It's just not something to worry about. If you're 1,000 blinds deep, sure, maybe start worrying about one combo. Or you're playing PLO, worry about one combo, maybe. But here, no. So against this sizing, I feel like maybe they have a 5. Maybe they have a smaller boat. Maybe they have like pocket 3s, right? There's 3 combos of those. So I'm just going to rip it. Rip City, and they call it off. And hilariously, they had that Bay Area hand I wanted to play a couple weeks ago, 94. No, it's the 49ers. Okay, they had it backwards. Whatever, 9-4 of spades. So my read in terms of what 4x they could have, way off, hilariously off. Maybe they can have any 4x suited, I don't know. But they didn't raise. So they called when they had a straight, which was the second nuts. And then when the board paired, then they let out and put a lot of money in. So, I'm not here to criticize their play. I'm just here to profit from it. Thanks so much for watching. Like it if you like it, subscribe and hit the bell for more, and I'll see you next time. Peace. Hopefully there's been some informing text down there. Informing? Informing. I don't even know.